Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today we are taking a close look at Indraprastha Gas Limited or IGL. They are a major player in city gas distribution, supplying CNG for vehicles and PNG for homes and businesses, primarily in Delhi and the National Capital Region.
That's right. And IGL is quite interesting, as it's a joint venture involving big names like GAIL India Limited, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited or BPCL, and the government of the National Capital Territory of Delhi. They also have a subsidiary called IGL Genesis Technologies Limited and investments in associate companies like Maharashtra Natural Gas Limited, MNGL, and Central UP Gas Limited, CUGL.
So they've released their audited financial results for both the quarter and the full financial year ended March 31, 2025. The board meeting for this was held on April 27, 2025. We've got both standalone and consolidated figures to dig into. Where should we start?
Let's kick off with the full year performance comparing financial year 25 with financial year 24. We'll look at both standalone and consolidated side by side.
Sounds good. How did the top line look?
Okay, for the full year ended March 31st, 2025, standalone revenue from operations came in at 16,466.45 crore rupees. That's up about 7% compared to 15,456.53 crore rupees in the previous financial year. Consolidated revenue from operations, very similar, at 16,466.73 crore rupees, also up around 7% from 15,456.53 crore rupees last year. So top line growth is consistent across both.
A 7% revenue growth is decent. What about profitability for the full year? Let's start with profit before tax or PBT.
Right. Here's where things get interesting. For the full financial year 25, standalone PBT was 1,936.90 crore rupees. This is actually down 16% from 2,307.16 crore rupees in financial year 24. Consolidated PBT stood at 2,182.53 crore rupees. This is also down by about 15% from 2,542.50 crore rupees the previous year. The consolidated PBT includes the share of profit from associates, which was about 361 crore rupees for the year.
So revenue is up, but PBT is down quite significantly for the full year on both standalone and consolidated levels. How does that translate to the bottom line, the profit after tax or PAT?
It follows a similar trend. For the full financial year 25, standalone PAT reported at 1,467.59 crore rupees, which is a 16% decrease from 1,748.08 crore rupees in financial year 24. Consolidated PAT came in at 1,713.01 crore rupees. That's down 14% compared to 1,983.40 crore rupees last year.
Okay, so a clear theme of top line growth but bottom line pressure for the full year. What about the earnings per share, the EPS? I assume we look at consolidated for that.
Yes, typically, consolidated EPS is the key metric. For the full financial year 25, the basic and diluted EPS was 12.27 rupees. This is down from 14.18 rupees in financial year 24. It's important to note, as per their disclosures, the EPS for the previous year has been restated because the company issued bonus shares in a 1:1 ratio in January 2025, effectively doubling the number of shares.
The bonus issue, good point. That restatement is crucial for a fair comparison. Now, let's zoom into the fourth quarter, Q4 financial year 25, compared to Q4 financial year 24. How did things look there?
Okay, for the quarter ended March 31st, 2025, standalone revenue was 4,340.50 crore rupees, up 9% year-over-year from 3,964.42 crore rupees. Consolidated revenue, almost identical, at 4,340.77 crore rupees, also up 9% year-over-year. Standalone PBT was 465.63 crore rupees, down about 10% year-over-year from 518.67 crore rupees. Consolidated PBT came in at 569.70 crore rupees. Interestingly, this is almost flat, slightly up compared to 569.12 crore rupees in Q4 last year. The share of profit from associates in Q4 was about 108 crore rupees, which seems to have helped the consolidated PBT compared to the standalone figure. Standalone PAT was 349.23 crore rupees, down 9% year-over-year from 382.80 crore rupees. Consolidated PAT showed growth. It was 453.21 crore rupees, up 5% year-over-year from 433.29 crore rupees.
Wow, that Q4 consolidated performance is quite different from the full year trend and the standalone Q4 trend. Revenue up, consolidated PBT flat, and consolidated PAT actually up 5% year-over-year. Looks like the associate companies really propped up the consolidated numbers in the last quarter.
Exactly. It highlights the positive contribution from their investments in MNGL and CUGL during that specific quarter. The consolidated Q4 EPS reflects this, coming in at 3.25 rupees compared to a restated 3.10 rupees for Q4 last year.
Let's talk profitability margins. The performance sheets mention EBITDA. How did that look?
Right. The supplementary performance sheets provide EBITDA figures. Full year FY25 EBITDA was 1,978.63 crore rupees, down 16% from 2,366.85 crore rupees in FY24. The EBITDA margin dropped from 17% to 13% of net revenue from operations. Q4 FY25 EBITDA was 497.23 crore rupees, down 5% from 522.55 crore rupees in Q4 FY24. The EBITDA margin for the quarter also dipped from 15% to 13%.
So the margin pressure is evident in the EBITDA figures as well, both for the quarter and the full year. Any significant other income we should note?
For the full year standalone, other income was 441.55 crore rupees, up from 363.21 crore rupees last year. A significant portion of this typically comes from interest on deposits and income from mutual fund investments, as seen in the cash flow statement adjustments.
Were there any major one-off or exceptional items impacting these results?
The results don't list any items termed exceptional. However, Note 3A mentions that negotiations with oil marketing companies, OMCs, concluded and agreements were renewed. This led to a reversal of a provision amounting to 114.08 crore rupees made in earlier periods regarding trade margins for the period April 2019 to November 2021. While it's a significant reversal, it relates to prior operational periods and normal course of business adjustments rather than being classified as a typical exceptional item.
Understood. Let's shift to the balance sheet. Any major changes there as of March 31st, 2025 compared to the previous year?
On the standalone side, total assets grew to 14,188.67 crore rupees from 13,120.57 crore rupees. Total equity increased to 9,284.02 crore rupees from 8,551.74 crore rupees. A key change within equity is the equity share capital doubling to 280 crore rupees due to the 1:1 bonus issue, with a corresponding adjustment likely reflected in other equity. Total liabilities also grew moderately. The consolidated balance sheet shows similar trends, with total assets at 15,581.36 crore rupees and total equity at 10,642.46 crore rupees.
What about cash flows and dividends?
The standalone cash flow from operations for financial year 25 was strong at 2,205.28 crore rupees. The operating cash flow increased significantly year-over-year from 1,535.66 crore rupees. Cash flow used in investing activities was substantial at 1,507.35 crore rupees, mainly due to property, plant, and equipment additions and investments in bank deposits and mutual funds. Cash flow used in financing activities was 774.66 crore rupees, largely driven by the dividend paid during the year, which amounted to about 735 crore rupees. The consolidated cash flows showed a very similar pattern. Crucially, the board has recommended a final dividend of 75%, which is 1.5 rupees per share on the face value of 2 rupees each for financial year 24-25. This is subject to shareholder approval.
A final dividend recommendation is always good news for shareholders. Now, does IGL report different business segments?
According to Note 5 in the results, the company's business falls within a single operating segment, which is the city gas distribution business. so no separate segment reporting is provided. However, the performance sheets do break down sales volumes by product.
Okay, let's look at those volumes then. How did sales perform?
For the full financial year 25, total sales volumes increased by 6% year-over-year, reaching 3,280.87 million standard cubic meters or MSCM. CNG volumes grew by 6% and total PNG volumes domestic commercial industrial grew by 8%. In Q4 financial year 25, total volumes were up 4% year-over-year. So demand seems robust.
Volume growth is positive. Let's touch on any other significant notes or events mentioned.
We've covered the OMC provision reversal, the single segment, the bonus issue, and EPS restatement, and the dividend. Note 3B highlights a long-pending contingent liability related to a demand from the Delhi Development Authority, DDA, regarding increased license fees for CNG station sites amounting to 330.73 crore rupees excluding interest. The company believes the demand isn't tenable and hasn't made a provision, but it's a point to note. Note 6 details the investment in the new subsidiary, IGL Genesis Technologies, focused on gas meters and the loan provided to it. Note 10 mentions the results are subject to review by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, CAG.
Okay, now for a critical part, the auditor's report. We have reports for both standalone and consolidated results from PKF Sridhar and Santanam LLP. What did they say? Any red flags?
This is a key point of difference. Both the standalone and consolidated auditors' reports express an unmodified opinion. This means the auditors believe the financial statements give a true and fair view in accordance with the accounting standards. There are no qualifications or adverse opinions.
That's a positive sign. Did they mention any emphasis of matter or key audit matters?
No emphasis of matter paragraphs were included. They don't list specific key audit matters in these reports either. However, both reports contain an other matter paragraph. For both standalone and consolidated, it clarifies that the figures for the quarter ended March 31st, 2025 are balancing figures derived from the full year audited figures and the year-to-date figures up to the third quarter. The consolidated report's other matter section also mentions their reliance on the audit report of another auditor for the financial information of the subsidiary, IGL Genesis Technologies. It further states that the financial information for the two associate companies, MNGL and CUGL, reflecting the group's share of net profit, is based on unaudited financial information provided by management, but concludes this information is not material to the group.
So unlike the BF Utilities example with its adverse conclusion due to subsidiary accounting, IGL's auditors have given a clean chit, albeit noting the standard procedures for quarterly figures and reliance on others for subsidiaries' associates.
Exactly. It's a much cleaner audit report situation here. No major accounting controversies flagged by the auditors.
Great. So pulling it all together, what's the outlook and potential risks for IGL based on these results? And the usual disclaimer, of course.
Disclaimer: we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions. The outlook appears stable. IGL demonstrated solid volume growth, indicating healthy demand in its operating regions. The revenue growth is positive. However, the significant drop in PBT, PAT, and EBITDA margins year-over-year suggests cost pressures or pricing challenges that impacted profitability despite higher sales. The strong performance of associates, especially in Q4, buffered the consolidated results. The dividend recommendation is a positive signal of management's confidence and shareholder return focus. Key risks include volatility in natural gas prices, which impacts their input costs, regulatory changes in the gas sector, managing operational costs effectively to improve margins, and the resolution of the DDA contingent liability. Competition in the CGD space could also intensify.
So to conclude,
IGL's financial year 25 showed a mixed picture. Positive volume and revenue growth, but a noticeable decline in profitability margins and absolute profits on a standalone basis for the full year compared to the previous year. The Q4 consolidated results were boosted by associate performance. The balance sheet remains healthy, operating cash flow is strong, and the dividend is encouraging. Importantly, the auditors have issued clean, unmodified opinions on both standalone and consolidated results. Investors should watch the margin trends closely in the coming quarters.
excellent analysis. It definitely paints a clearer picture of IGL's performance.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast for more financial insights.